Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels.
Lori here.
Hey, we want to invite you to our outdoor patio lanai. Well, in this video, we actually going to have two parts because we have a long and a lot of information. What I've done is over the months that I have been doing a phone consultation, I sort of got everything together, and a lot of the questions that we're answering here are from our phone consultation. And so it'd be like you sitting in on a private phone consultation. It's really a lot of information, especially if you've never been to Mexico and you want to learn more about practical advice of living in Mexico.
Hey, what are we going to do tonight?
Well, I thought we would give them some ideas of what happens here,
Okay.
in our life and different things that we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very practical information. A lot of it comes from people who ask me a lot of questions, and
Yeah.
one of the things that people ask me, they'll say about investing down here. Is that
Oh,
a good
yeah?
idea?
Mm-hmm.
And so we invested a year ago in a 1-year CD,
Mm-hmm.
and we got 11.55%.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just went in because I had to renew it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now it's at 11.25%. And so it works out good. A lot of people, what they do is they invest down here. So they're getting, because at those interest rates, they're getting a return of maybe $900 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And also another guy, Tim, he gets $700 a month. And Mary gets $450 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so it all depends on how much money you put in to determine, what interest rate you're going to go. So to get the highest rate, you got to put, a lot more money in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you remember, Lori, what it takes for somebody to open up a bank account? What does somebody need to bring in to the bank?
Wow. I tell you the basic, you have to bring your permanent visa, and you have to bring your real passport, and you have to bring your electric or telephone bill. It's a real one. It's not a copy one.
And it has to be within 6 months.
Yeah.
Also, you need to have, you can use a temporary visa. You can use a temporary or permanente.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary to have a bank account here, because if you are, well, the reason we have two bank accounts, and the reason we have two is because when we bought a home, we need to wire money in here so we could pay for the home. And like I mentioned in some other videos just recently, to buy a home, you have to have cash. And so we opened them up. But it's not necessary. A lot of people who live here, they just use their ATM card, from their home country. So they get their checks deposited in that account in their home country.
Yeah.
And then they just use the ATM down here.
ATM available everywhere here in the country.
Yeah. And so that makes it convenient. So not necessary to have a bank account here.
Yeah.
Also, in making opening up an account, you need to have a deposit. So you need to have somewhere around, say, equivalent to maybe $100 or less, okay, to deposit it in that account. And you can get a checking, you can get a debit card, and you can get a checking account also.
Yeah.
So that makes it convenient. So
That make it. Yeah.
if you get in an accident, I mentioned this also. I'll mention it again just in case you're new to our video. If you get in an accident, say a car accident, and you hit your head, or you've got blood, whatever it is. If the accident has blood, they may take you to the police department and bring both parties there and try to get it sorted out to see who was at fault, okay? Because I think when they have blood, that's sort of the regular policeman, he doesn't want to deal with that. He wants a higher official to make that determination, who's at fault here, okay? The other thing, if you ever do get in a car accident, never, never, never move your car. I don't care if it's on the main street and it's a one-way street each way. Don't move your car. Wait till the police come. They'll take pictures. Let them make the determination if they want to move it. Okay. So in the States, we try to be polite. We think, well, we can move it out of the way, and we've filmed it, we've taken pictures, whatever it is. Don't move your car. That's very important. One of the things too that's really convenient down here. Let's talk about your drugs and your prescriptions. You can just go into a drugstore, and it's not going to be a drugstore like you think, where there's going to be a pharmacist. They don't have pharmacists on staff there. All of the drugs that are provided there are already pre-packed, and so. But if you take your drug in, and you maybe have a bottle, or maybe you have, actually you could literally take a photograph of the bottle of what the ingredients are, take it in, show it to them, and they'll give you your medicine. A lot of people think that the medicine down here is so much cheaper. Some of it is, and some of it isn't. So it depends on if you're collecting Medicare, and you're getting Medicare, what they call the cheap, your rate on your drugs are much lower. You may find that the drugs here are going to be higher. Oh, a lot of people are concerned going into restaurants and stuff. We mentioned this a few times. Let me mention it again. Water down here. In restaurants, don't worry about, you can drink their water. They use purified water. Also, the ice that you get in a restaurant, you can eat that or drink with it. Have no worry with that. By law, they have to provide filtered water. So if you're bound around a restaurant, you'll see them bring in bottles of water and also bags of ice, so that you can be safe on that. Well, we want you to know about the hospitals down here in the Lake CHAPALA area. So what it is, there's a stretch between CHAPALA and Holtotepec. It's like 20 miles. Okay, along that 20 miles, there is a bike path along that whole way, and also there's a walking path along there. So if you're into biking, and a lot of e-bikes now are down here.
Oh yeah.
So there is that. Down here we have 3 hospitals. Actually, we have 4 hospitals. Yeah, we have 4 hospitals, and 3 of them are brand new, and 1 of them has been here for years, but they've upgraded it. And most people, I'm going to say most people, I'm going to take a guess, it's just a guess, that probably 65 to 75% of the expats that live here, they don't have private medical insurance. And the reason why, one is they have pre-existing conditions, so they can't qualify for insurance. Another one is their age. When you get over 70, 75, then they have a lot of restrictions on qualifying for a private. And also the expense. You could spend, $5,000 a year for one person, to have private medical. So like us, most people will pay out of their own pocket. So they'll go see a doctor and they'll pay a doctor. Now, what do we figure now doctors are going
Well,
for?
the doctor appointment right now, 500 is equivalent like a $37.
So when it could go up, it could, first,
It keep go up. Some doctor was 1,000, some doctor was 900. This is talking about peso for one visit.
yeah. So we went to a specialist the other day. Lori, you needed to get a checkup on your knee.
Yeah, that's about 1,200. That equipment like a $60.
About $60 for that. So that's a specialist. So that gives you an idea of what doctors cost.
Yeah.
One of the other things is that around hospitals and doctors, this is a problem that some people, they come down and they want to live here. They hear Mexico's real cheap to live, and so they want to think, well, I can come down, maybe a couple, and they say, we'd like to get by living on $1,500 a month or $1,800 a month, and you probably, if you're really, really, really frugal, you probably can do it.
You can do it, but if you don't have a medical expense, you can do it, because some apartment is only like a $600 or $700 US dollars a month, and then the rest you can use for the food. They go out for eating and entertainment. Uh, it's pretty reasonable price, but it's not cheap like before.
Yeah. So so if you're in that situation, you know, that you're trying to get by at a very low, and you're using all that money, you know, just to provide for the bare essentials, you know, if at that low amount of money, you
Yeah.
know, you're really not going to uh, restaurants a lot and stuff like that. So maybe you're going to get a cup of coffee here and there and hang around the plaza, not spend any money. But now if somebody has an emergency, okay, and they don't have any money to go to the hospital.
Mm.
Now, do they let you just go into the hospital, you know, go in there? How does it? You've checked me in the hospital.
Well, if you don't have the money, they won't check you in. You can go to emergency room. They let you in there. But if you need to stay in the hospital, that you have to pay in front at least 20,000 peso. You know, in front to admit you in the hospital room.
Yeah,
You don't have money to deposit it, they may send you home.
yeah. So this is a problem that people get trapped because they're trying to live down here as cheap as possible, but they don't have any reserve money for an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And so our recommendation is take some money and set it aside for any emergencies. You know, really plan ahead because you never know. Because when it happens, it
Mm-hmm.
is an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you want to set 3 months of your income aside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you're trying to live here on $1,500 a month, so you set aside about $4,500. Let me give you an example for us. What did we spend the other day? Just one day. What did we spend for our medical just in that one day?
That one day we spent 15,000 peso.
15,000 pesos for that
Oh,
one day.
yeah, almost $1,000.
Yeah. So what did we do? We had the exam with Lori to see her specialist on her knee. That was
Yeah.
1,200.
And then we have a shingle shot.
Oh yeah, we each had a shingle shot.
Mm-hmm.
That was like
That was a 7,800.
yeah
7,400.
7,400 pesos.
And then you have to see the other doctors cost you 1,500.
Yeah, I needed to see which doctor did I see?
You see the natural doctors about your throat.
Oh yeah, so I see a naturopath about some viruses, not viruses, but maybe some allergic to some things. So I'm being tested for that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and
And then plus you have to buy some medicine.
yeah,
That add up to about 15,000 peso that day, just one day.
one day. And so I mean, years ago, I would have never thought about that. I would have never even put it in our cost analysis.
Oh yeah, then I have X-ray my knee too.
Oh, X-rays on the knee, yeah. So that was an expensive day. Was it an unusual day? Was that an unusual day? That was a very unusual day. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. In fact, that's the first time we've ever been hit that hard with, the cost of that.
Yeah, when I add up the car, I was shocked myself. I said, "Whoa, we spend that much money? That's a lot for us for one day, you know." And then plus not enough that the next day we had to go get some medication
Right.
too.
So there are a lot of doctors down here, a lot of specialists, and they're good, and the medical care is good down here. Now, one of the things about the 3 new hospitals, because it's a very small community that we live in, you hear from a lot of different people good service and not so good service. Okay, so because and when we're down here, because we're retired people, what do retired people do? They talk about their ailments. They talk about what they're spending on doctor bills. This is what old people do. So
And they talk about the food.
and the food and the cost of things and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we're exchanging stories about different doctors stuff. Especially right now, there's been a real influx of people getting hip replacements and knee replacements.
Yeah, I just have knee replacement last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think last year we knew 6 people that got knee replacements. This year so far, I know for people that have had hip replacements.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a retirement community situation. So we know we talk about it, so we hear the different pros and cons around a hospital. So that's one of the advantages of coming to an area like this and living, for a while, and then get a feel for it and see if it works for you to live in another country. Wow, that was a long video. Now, if you made it this far, you'll want to stay tuned next week to see part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot more information on there. And you'll be surprised some of the stuff that people ask me. And actually, and sometimes it's very shocking. So stay tuned for that next week at 5 p.m. California time. That's Friday. This video will be shown. And that'll be part 2.